Hello everybody. Lawrence Fleming out for another relatively short hike. A lot of the camp emptied out during the day, so I can go in different areas and not have to worry about running into the people who make noise, or I don't want to have to put them on camera. This is what I'm used to. Most of the time I'm fairly alone in a campsite. And I like that for the most part. Weekends are enough. I see plenty of people on the weekends to satisfy my appetite. Okay. The whole world is on edge. They're looking at things, they're seeing things happen, they're wondering why they're happening. I mean, recently, I don't know if you're aware, there's a live feed from the space station. You can see the Earth, and it's live. You can go there anytime, and usually it's on. We haven't been hearing about it going off, like they've said, and it may very well be going on and off occasionally, depending on glitches and losing signal. We know how reliable internet is. It can occasionally go out. But just as some kind of a shiny thing shows up coming towards them, the feed drops. So everybody's up in arms going, "Why'd you drop the feed? Was that a UFO? How come you don't want us to know about UFOs?" First off, they haven't identified it as that. But they're all wanting to know. They're all anxious to know what's going on. And that's just one example. We're getting an increase in earthquakes. I think we had 2 something centered just north of in Georgia where I'm at. I don't know, maybe an hour north. I didn't feel it. 2's not very strong anyway. This is why I don't like this selfie stick. Okay. It does allow me to get to be back from the camera more. My other one doesn't let me do this, not very well, not comfortably. That's why I got this one in the first place. But it doesn't work very well sometimes. I'm almost half tempted to just, this is the right length, just go ahead and get some super glue and glue all the joints and keep it like this and not collapse it. Anyhow, so the world is awaiting something. They're looking at everything and questioning it. We have a number of rabbis in Jerusalem talking to the Messiah. I'm surprised we haven't gotten any Muslims yet, but technically they don't really like Jesus. And to them that wouldn't be the Messiah. But Jesus is in the Quran. And remember what Jesus said, if you hear them talking about me being out in the field or out in the desert, don't go out there. We basically know how he's coming back. Let's see if I can lock this in a little more. He's either coming back in the clouds where nobody's going to see him, or he's coming back to earth with a multitude, and there will be no doubt. Let me see if I can. Nope. Okay. I don't have a choice. Selfie stick is not going to work. I'll just have to carry the phone. So we know that Jesus is coming back in one of 2 ways. So if he just shows up on earth and says, "Here I am," it cannot be Jesus. It could be one of the many little a Antichrist, it could end up being the ultimate big A Antichrist. But I think we got to get out of here first. And I think we need to get Satan down here with his third of his angels. So we still got things coming up that we're waiting on. But the world is starting to notice. So it might be an opportunity for you to talk to them. Again, I'm doing this after my live broadcast. I'm hoping that when I do my live broadcast that maybe we get interrupted right in the middle. Jesus told me I have to be filming when we're raptured, or be prepared to be filming when we're raptured so that I can catch us going up. Now, that's not exactly how this is going to work, but it's funny. And I laughed when I heard that, so that was the intent. But in Matthew 24, Jesus is talking about the end times. He starts off with, don't be deceived. Don't go running if you hear somebody say the Antichrist is out there. And then he starts going into things that we're going to see in Revelation. So he basically discusses the beginning, the seals. He doesn't call them that, but that's what John calls them. But he talks about the events. And you can find that by seeing where he's talking about the sun and the moon being dark. Well, that's what's coming. The sun and the moon's going to be dark, and that's on the sixth seal. So we know that Jesus was talking about that time frame. But the world is beginning to wake up. Not all of it. They're a long way from all of it. What you're going to see, though, is that the key people that are still remaining that need to accept Christ, whose name's in the book of life, they're going to start waking up. Some of them who are almost Christians. They may even be people who have gone to church all their life and they may think they're Christians, but when we get raptured and they're still here, they're going to realize that there's something that they missed. You can go down front, you can say the words, but if you don't accept Christ into your heart, you're not a Christian. And there are going to be plenty of those left behind. But they already have the head knowledge. They just never connected it internally. So they're going to do that. And when they do, they're going to be talking to the rest of the world, trying to convince them. Now, the harlot is not going to like that. And we're going to see that the harlot will be involved in killing Jews at some point in time. I try to figure out how they could do that in like the United States. I don't see how they could do that. But it's possible. But I think what's going to happen is around the world, in some of the third world countries that are going to be part of this new big round blue thing order, that when they finally realize what they've done, they may be in a place where they're not supposed to be doing this. We know that in Iran, it's illegal to be a Christian. It's illegal to talk about it. But people are. There's been rioting in the streets. It's getting out of hand. The government's going to end up spewing off their nose to spite their face because they're going to get out there and start machine gunning people down or doing what they did in China, running them over with tanks. They're going to be making an example. It's not going to stop it. It's going to make it go underground. And they're going to just have to be more secretive. When you make times really bad, That's when people call on God. What they almost should do is just ignore it and start putting out propaganda. Just ignore it and put out propaganda. They know how to do this, but they're getting impatient. The group out there wants to take over now. It's the 30-20 group. Reverse the numbers. They don't want to wait that long. They can see how far along we are now. And they don't want to take a step backwards. We do have the election in Israel coming up. We have our election here. I would expect something major would happen before either one of them. Now, it may be that in Israel they might figure out that Netanyahu is not going to be able to raise enough for his coalition. And if he doesn't, the current leftist leader will be in charge. He just signed over oil to a terrorist organization. Give them exactly what they wanted. He didn't even negotiate. And there's nothing coming back. There's nothing but maybes, but no rock solid. It's supposed to be a legal document. And there's nothing in there that says you have to do this. So they give them all the rights and they take nothing back. Who but the devil would do that? And that's going to cost them. They're not immune to God's wrath. They've had it happen throughout the history of Israel. So it's going to be a problem. And we help broker it. So the United States is going to pay a price. We've been paying prices. Every time something major happens here, we pay a price for it. So that's why I'm thinking that earthquake scenario may be pretty solid. They are increasing. The government's hiding it, of course. They don't want you to know. They're trying to stop some of these people from talking about the fact that they are increasing. But they are. And the fact that we're getting microquakes in Georgia, ones and twos and threes maybe. I've lived here for 30 years. I don't know if I can, with the recent quakes that we've had, if I can count them on my hands. It used to be, like I said, I could count them on one finger and then two, then one hand. But now I may have to say I can count the number of quakes in Georgia on two hands. Because they're increasing. We don't get quakes here. The plate that we're on is coming from the Atlantic Ridge. That's why our mountains are low. The plates aren't pushing up the East Coast, or haven't been. One trailer going in and one trailer coming out. So things have to be getting ready. I'm anticipating, starting with Halloween. Be sure to watch my live event. If you missed it, go back and watch it, since this is coming out after it. But that's the beginning of my high watch. And I'll take it all the way out to, I think Barry Ah said the day could be the 11th. If that's so, then we need to look at the 11th. And I like to fudge on either side, so let's go to the 15th of November. That will incorporate the elections and a possible modified date for Halloween. They really messed up the calendar. And that was deliberate, because we could tie all these things together. Is this where I go through? No, the next one. I'm glad there's nobody here. I can cut through these camps. Yeah, this one will do. Well, I did get out and duck down. I did get out and create a little fire. I have my little green propane tanks in my stove, and I made some popcorn. You know that you can, if you have the microwave popcorn, you can open them up and dump them in a pan. You might have to add some oil, because a lot of the oil sticks to the bag. But then just cook them on a stove, make popcorn. And I had some of my flavored butter from my last pizza order, and I put that on it for flavoring. All right. Oh. Going inside. Okay, I can open up a little bit of the window. I close them up when I'm not here, just in case somebody shows up and wants to borrow a cup of sugar. I don't want them seeing inside. And now I can sit down. Okay. Let's see. Pull this down. All right. There we go. My chair's all the way back to the wall, so it runs into everything. Okay, see, I am in the woods. Okay. See, I have a little burner and a stove. I'm using my cooler there and some of my tubs for a table. I had to leave a bunch of stuff behind because of my filming. That's awful bright behind me, isn't it? Ugh. Yeah. I can put it up for now and I'll bring it down in a bit. There, that's better. Get rid of the glare. Okay, so I can't stress enough. Stay repentant daily. If you've got a long-term problem and you're dealing with it all the time, now's the time you want to double down and put all your effort onto stopping it. Be repentant daily. Talk to Jesus daily. I think if you're a good Christian, you don't have to worry about missing the rapture, but I know that there are going to be some who do miss it. Those would be the, get away from me, I never knew you, Christians. From looking at things, from knowing how many people claim to be a Christian in the world, I'm not seeing that. Now, I'm not in the world, I'm in areas that are somewhat isolated, but I'm still, every time I talk to someone, I can tell whether they're a Christian or not real quickly, because I tell them what I do. And if they're not interested, they're not a Christian. If they're interested, they're a Christian. So I get to find out. And the majority of the people that are out here are driving very expensive trucks and RVs and trailers, and they're into that. They're not into Christ, and it's going to be a problem for them. We have to get the message out. It's not getting out as much. I'm having problems on YouTube where it's random, but it's not so I can sit there and pinpoint it, but I lose people that I thought were good. They've been commenting on a regular basis. I'm not changing what I'm saying, and they're gone. And then some may come back later on and say, I don't know what happened. I just noticed I wasn't seeing you anymore and resubscribed. I don't get comments, or I don't get flagged for comments. Every time I've got the apps on my phone and on my computer, on my laptop, every time you leave a comment, I'm supposed to get a ding. Or at least if I click on the app, if I don't get the ding, because sometimes I have it muted, I should be at least able to see how many new comments, pull those up and go down and read them. Sometimes I don't get that. It shows me nothing. I see a 0. Well, I'll go down to the comment tab, click on that, and I'll see 4 or 5 comments that aren't showing up as being counted. I've gone down, I've scrolled down and found a comment from a month ago that I didn't notice. Well, I'll go ahead and like it if it's a good comment, but I don't know until I go searching. Now, Facebook, I know, tried to change some of their rules to lighten up for a little while some time back. And the FBI came in and said, no, you can't do that. You got to follow our rules. So, and Musk has already been told, you can't just wipe out and take away the filters. If you don't follow our rules, we'll put you out of business. We'll make sure that your other businesses are shut down too. Now, they like the money that he's contributing, and then they don't want him to take his I'm the richest man in the world money and go to someplace else. But if the money goes to 0 because they trash the dollar, I'm sure he's got investments other places, but it might hurt him, and they might try to limit him and block his money. They may just come in and take all of his money. This is a government who doesn't care about anybody unless you're 100% behind them. And our current government, world government, is a type of religion. And Musk is an atheist, so he's not going to buy into theirs or ours. So maybe there's hope. Maybe somebody can get to him. If you can get to him, if he'll talk to you, tell him about Jesus. He's got too many followers. I can't get to him that way. Oh, I may say something once in a while, but I never see him like or respond. My fellow watchers, I'll comment or like or say something, and I get a like back at least. Sometimes I get a like and a heart, but most of the time it's just, I get an acknowledgement. But not these big guys. So, we're running out of time. Tell people, anybody, everywhere. Like on my little sci-fi video. Tell the world, watch the skies. Well, they are, but they're watching for the Antichrist. And they're not going to know the difference because they don't know. If we've taught them about who Christ is, even if they're not a Christian, they may question when the Antichrist comes here. But you can't come down and say you can't buy or sell without this mark and not have the whole world behind you. So they're going to fall into his arms and do exactly what he wants. It's going to fool everybody. It's going to fool maybe not the Christians down here, but the non-Christians for sure. He's going to fool the Arabs because they're looking for the Messiah, or at least the Christ that they believe in. And the Jews, of course, are going to fall for it because they're going to let him help get the temple built. All right. I'll go back to my other selfie stick. See, this is the one that I've got, it's perfect, except for the phone. I guess when the phones were first made, they were light. But this here, it just spins. I put the phone in it, and next thing I know, it goes, or it goes, and then I end up like that. You saw it in the video. I'm not going to cut it out. I don't edit my videos. What you see is what you get. Even if I say the wrong thing, I'll correct it in text and I'll just leave the video up. This is too easy. The technology is too easy. Nobody has an excuse for not doing videos if you've got that in the back of your mind that you want to do it. Just do it. You can leave your videos up later on too if you decide you don't want to keep them, and just make them private, and then you can share them with your friends. You can even just keep them. There's unlisted and private. One lets you share it with a link, and the other one completely blocks it so nobody can find it. Learn how to use YouTube. We've still got access for a while. And I'm hoping that the people that are left behind will have access, at least for a little while. I'm trying to put stuff on Telegram, but I talk too much. I talk way longer than what Telegram lets me post. There's other sites, but I know YouTube, and I'm still able to do this. I'm speaking to the Christians that are out here and to the rest of the world that's still here. That's my ministry, like John the Baptist. Repent, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. That's my primary message. All the other teaching that I do is just because I've taught these things in the past, in Bible studies and that. And to fill in, because you get real tired of me every day saying, repent, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. But he traveled, and he talked to all the people where he traveled. Well, I'm talking to you online. I'm not talking to the people where I am. I'd have to do a medicine show or something to get people to come in and do this. Or go out and talk to, go find out where they're having a revival or a big get-together and see if I can be part of that. But that's not me. I'm not a big showman that way. I don't want to do that. I want to get the word out. I want to stay humble like John the Baptist. He had his followers. They followed him along. I associate you with John the Baptist followers. You follow me along. You subscribe to my channel. But then he'd meet new people and bring them in. Now, the only thing I'm not doing that he did is I'm not baptizing. Because I don't need to baptize you the way John the Baptist did. You need to be baptized after you're Christians. And I encourage you that if you become a Christian, find a church. You may not find a perfect one, just make sure it's not a woke one. And they'll be more than happy to baptize you. It's real simple. Okay. Again, I'm making videos ahead of time for me doing a weekend's worth of work and moving a couple of days. I'm moving real quick. I'm moving, and then in 3 days I'm moving again. And it's possible in 3 more days I might be moving again. So I'm trying to get ahead on this. Plus, we've got to be very, very close to the rapture. If it's not in the next week or two, then we're all wrong and we just have to keep working. But a lot of us think that it is very soon. I'm almost 100% positive that it's this year. I got to say 99%. Because I can't scripturally back that up. But in the way God talks to me, either something very major that we're not going to get raptured on is happening this year, or we're getting raptured along with something major this year. And I think in the next week or two. That's just how I feel about it. But I can't give you a scripture. I wish I could. We're not supposed to know. We're supposed to know that it's imminent. But Paul thought it was imminent. But Paul was not giving us prophetic stuff. He was teaching. The prophetic guys have told us what to look for. Jesus, when he was being prophetic, have told us what to look for. We're there. See, Paul didn't know that Jerusalem was going to be destroyed. It was right there. So he thought, that Jesus is going to come back to Jerusalem. It's right there. They were all looking for him to come right back. That's what his disciples were doing when they left the temple and asked him in Matthew. So what are the sign of the times? Jesus was not talking about the rapture. He's talking about his coming back. But they wanted to know what to look for. So he gives it to them. But they didn't know their temple was going to be destroyed. They didn't know they were going to provoke. They probably provoked the Romans more than they should have because they thought Jesus was coming back. You don't poke the bear when the bear can eat you. And I will draw the parallel between our fearless leader and the bear over on the other side of the world. You don't poke the bear if the bear can kill you. Now, he might be able to kill us at the same time we kill him. That's not going to happen. So more than likely we won't react in time. And the bear will survive unscathed or very minimal damage. Then Israel's really in trouble because we're going to be out of the way. Could be. Or we just could collapse. They're trying to collapse our government. They're trying to collapse our money. Prep. Don't forget. You want to prep yourself for food, and you want to prep the people that you're going to possibly leave behind. When I'm gone, this is for you. Don't give it to people you don't know. Give it to your friends and family who are not going to make this first trip. They can catch the second one. But if you prep more than what you need, then there's something there for them. Now I pray that everybody's friends and family are going to go with them, but we know they're not. I have friends that I know are, and I have friends that I'm not sure. They're nice people, but they're sinners. I don't know. All right. Keep watching. We can't be far away. Stay repentant. Keep your lamps full.